Panasonic OmniMovie. They didn't really put the model on Front Street. Kind of have to dig for it. It's on the very bottom, PV-420D. Which is why when I decided that I wanted to own the camcorder that my family owned when I was growing up, I had a hard time figuring out which one it was, because I didn't know the model number. This fluffy mic cover I added because the original foam had deteriorated. But with the help of a couple of photographs, I was able to figure it out which model we owned. And one of those photographs relates to the video I'm making here in another way, so very likely I will show it. An awesome lady that I know, dear friend, had a horrible neighbor who threw a bird's nest out full of baby birds. All the birds died except this one, and she stepped in, saved it, and raised it. What an awesome person. And I shot some video on the Panasonic PV-420D of that experience. I find the video that comes out of this camera to be exquisitely gorgeous. Like even compared to other VHS cameras, certainly other formats of tape. As compared to like a modern mirrorless or cinema camera, no, I guess not. But compared to a phone, yeah, absolutely. Big difference there. Of course the phone has more resolution, but virtually no artistic value. Whereas this VHS video is packed with personality. I shoot it with no sense of irony. I love using it, and I think the video is extremely compelling. Okay, the awesome lady I told you about is my mom. And everyone thinks their mom is awesome, I suppose. But my mom really is awesome. She's probably the reason I'm a photographer in the first place, or interested in art, creativity. She was a great photographer and painter, a very compassionate and passionate human being, and I love her.
Move his body, his head stays in the same place.
She was always the one to come to the defense of others, be they human or otherwise. I like to think I got that quality from her also. So with just a few strips of Velcro, some cables, a power bank, an analog to digital converter, sometimes I set the camera up this way. But I don't want to be too disparaging to phone video. I think shooting video on your phone is perfectly reasonable. It's just that in a world dominated by phones and phone video, why would you choose a camera like this? For art, for texture, for fun, the experience, for uniqueness. It's analog. Never quite know what you're going to get. And nothing convenient is ever great, and nothing great is ever convenient.
Do something exciting. You can fly. You want to fly? You see these bird handlers? Oh, there's little mighty falcons. Oh, he's starting to shiver. Okay, we'll take him out tomorrow.
Once upon a time, in a video I crashed my drone. This area with the rocks is where I failed to find it on my first day of searching. Went back and reviewed GPS data and a 3D map and discovered that its actual location was right in here, to the right of that rock in the center. Doesn't look that difficult to reach, but man, it was. I won't reveal if I actually found it. But that terrain was tough. Just so dense with cactus and bush and rocks, and the ground was so steep. As a disgusting fat loser, I found it to be very challenging and miserable in the moment. However, looking back, it is one of my absolute favorite memories of making videos. And videos centered around searching for a crashed, lost drone. That has become my favorite genre of video, and there aren't that many out there, just a few. So definitely not going to spoil the end of mine.
In here, we've trained him to eat off a little spoon, one of those sample spoons from Baskin-Robbins. Have a mixture of dog food and bird seed and bird vitamins. And he really loves it. First couple of times though, he really hated it, but now he prefers it to worms. However, we had to switch him back to worms because it didn't seem to agree with him as well as worms. Plus, when we turned him loose, there wasn't going to be anybody out there with a spoon to feed him after the big ones.
So I lost my mom just short of 2 years ago. So this whole thing with the bird, I wonder if that's a photo shoot. There should be no lights up there. But this bird stuff took place quite a while ago, but it was me shooting it, and it was the Panasonic PV-420D. How long ago? 1991. The actual capture of the tape, the digitization, is from 2013. So the tape was what, 22 years old when it was digitized? That's not so bad. I think they're rated for 40 years. So I went to REI because I've wanted to own this pass for a really long time that will make parking free at national parks and some of the places I go regularly. That's like $5 to park, which adds up very quickly. National parks are, of course, more than $5 to park. A lot more than $5. A ludicrous amount of money, in fact, if you ask me. The way the viewfinder opens and closes on this camera, it allows you, via opening the viewfinder, to kind of monitor from a distance. But when I mount a monitor, it's specifically because I want to monitor from the side. Usually. It is technically possible to turn the viewfinder to the side. The paperwork that came with the camera is so fun. I won't make you look at it all, but I looked at it all and scanned it all and had a blast doing it. Some really cool stuff came with the camera that I was lucky enough to get with my eBay purchase. So the viewfinder turns to the side, but it only turns to the side, like, how do I explain this? If you're standing on the right. No, if you're standing on the left of the camera, looking right, you can see the viewfinder, but not the other way around. Here's my kitty Miyako. One of the other reasons I got this camera was because I wanted to add to my stash of family video with current members of the family and have them match exactly. I wanted everyone to exist in the same universe. You know, I didn't want the story to end. This is my way of continuing the story. Letters to my mom. That's how I think of the current stuff I shoot with this VHS camera. It's like I'm making a letter to my mom. Like, this is the realm in which she exists, so I'm invoking that realm. And she's a part of it, somehow, or a witness to it. I don't actually believe that, just to clarify, but that's how it feels, and that's what motivates me, I suppose.
All awards won by this great country of ours. We certainly tip our cap to those men and women who participated today. Hey, by the way, coming up in a few minutes, we're going to talk a little bit about the 5th annual Michael Jordan McDonald's Charity Golf Classic coming up in the not-too-distant future.
There's a lot more video of the bird story. I'm presenting the abridged version, but at this point we're already preparing to let him go. We're not quite there yet, but we are working toward the goal, my dad, my mom, and I, of releasing the bird to start its life as an adult bird in the wild. I don't know if we determined if it's a he or a she. In the video we refer to the bird as he, so I'll go with he. The camera is loaded with cool stuff. Even some stuff that I've never used before. Not sure why that is, other than just momentum. I've been using it in the same way that I remember using it as a kid. There's a backlight button, which I guess I always assumed meant that you could add an accessory. But that doesn't make sense. That would be a front light. Backlight button is just to help compensate for when you're shooting into a light source. Wish I'd tried it, but I didn't. Another thing I've never tried, there's a macro mode. It is extremely non-obvious. I learned about it from reading the manual, and I see how you get into it. Interesting. Did not try that. The other thing I didn't try that it can do is time-lapse, and that would be super interesting. This is actually the second video I've made about this camera because the first one I just didn't get to a bunch of stuff I wanted to cover, so guess I'll be making a third one.
Wow, he's looking up, looking for the ceiling outside. There isn't any ceiling.
Via a port in the back of the camera, there's a piece that you can fit in there that gives you audio and video out. It's very small. I think I showed it earlier. Or you plug the charger in that very same port, and you get not only audio video out, but you get audio video in. And you can run the camera off the wall outlet. And using that plus a VCR back in the day, late 80s, early 90s, I was able to edit videos that way, make videos.
Well, he won't be satisfied for long. It's just annoying flying.
The optics in the CCD in this camera are outstanding. Record straight to digital. It does look noticeably cleaner. On top of this mountain is one of the places I go that charges $5 every time I park. At least for the good spots. So this is the reverse angle looking back down toward the city. I probably come to this specific spot too much, just the very top. But there's a lot to explore, which I look forward to now doing because I have that parking pass. It's more than a parking pass, whatever it is that I bought at REI. The camera has a fade button, which seems useless today. I thought it was pretty fun when I was a kid. There are 2 ways of zooming, a fast manual zoom ring, and then 2 buttons for kind of delicate, slow, consistent zooming. It has autofocus, it has manual focus with a manual focus ring. It has auto white balance, but it also has an outdoor setting and an indoor setting. And they make a difference when you want to manually assert control. It does look better. There's an electronic viewfinder, a self-timer, a high shutter speed mode. It has a counter, date and time, tracking control. It comes with a remote for starting and stopping recording, headphone jack, cold shoe mount, built-in microphone, plus an external microphone jack, a spot to attach straps. The list goes on and on. It has everything except manual exposure controls, basically.
Looks like he's hungry.
He likes it, doesn't he?
I wouldn't call it like.
We encourage the bird to fly, to learn to fly, to practice.
Hungry?
Not that he required much encouragement, but we did so in order to prep him for release into the wild. Because this camera has an EVF, I can safely shoot it toward the sun without worrying about damaging my eyeballs. This camera was released in 1988. You might see the release date of 89 online, but I can assure you that's wrong because we already owned the camera in 88. I shot a bunch of my old videos off this main road. This spot right here is what we were just looking at from the mountain. And then as I zoom out, you can see basically exactly where I was standing. Look at where the tower is in the center. Then there's a V-shaped rock to the right, and I was on the green patch right in the middle of the V-shape. I asked the wife to confirm I'm colorblind. She says it's brown, so green, brown, whatever. There's some interesting landscapes over here. I mean, as interesting as you can hope for in Albuquerque. So back on top of the mountain, I came up here to this exact spot where you see people walking around with my parents in 2001. That was my first time ever coming to the top of this mountain. We moved here together in 2000. I have video shot with this camera of my mom standing in this exact same spot. So the wife was with me this day, and I asked her to shoot that for me. But all the bird stuff took place in Arkansas. That's where we lived in 1991. And today we're letting the bird go, whatever day this is, in May of 91.
Didn't want to come out there.
Oh, there you go, the 11th. I really have mixed feelings about burned in date and time. I kinda don't love it. However, it's really cool to know the date and time.
Wow, look at him go!
I remember also feeling proud, like my mom, but sad, of course.
Here's our little baby bluebird up on the line, and he's sitting there. This is his first long-distance flight, and if you'll notice, look, there's a bird attacking him. An adult bluebird saw him land up there and attacked him. And knocked him down. Here I picked him up. We got a pet on our hands there. I saw that. That was terrible. Go on the line and that big old bird attacked you. Yes, it did. Yes.
This is my mom's old stills camera, which I still use occasionally. I was curious if she took any photos of the bird. I didn't find any, but I did find the roll of film that would have overlapped with us having the bird. Interestingly, this photo is what helped me identify the model of camera in the first place, and it overlapped with the bird, either right before it or right after it. And hey, there's me with my camera. And then the reverse angle of my mom with her camera. So my grandparents must have visited either before, after, or potentially during the bird saga. I don't think it was during. That's the house where I grew up. Well, not up, but where I lived. This is our normally gorgeous dog Ace, but with his crappy summer haircut. Me! That's a cool shot. Thank you, Mom. I like that. Awesome shot of a gorgeous kitty, but that was not our kitty. I think we were just watching the kitty. And my mom loved plants, flowers, knew everything about them. Here's a really cool abstract shot of my dad. I don't know if she shot it this way on purpose or not.
Can I,
Look
stop?
at him. No, look at him on the shovel. Isn't that cute? And here he is on a shovel. We're digging him some worms to feed him. He hadn't learned how to get his own food yet. He depends on us still.
So I did not find an opportunity to talk about the saga of figuring out how to best capture analog video. But this is the method I use these days. Old software, old capture dongle, but I'm getting uncompressed 10-bit 422, which is awesome. I believe that codec came from this site, the Blackmagic support site. And because it's old software and old capture device, I used an old version that was compatible. But I'm sure there's a lot of good hardware and software out there. So the codec is important, but also how to deal with interlacing is extremely important. There is essentially only one way, in my opinion, the correct way. So here I'm going to zoom in on the video, not with the camera, but on the actual video file to really demonstrate what it looks like. What you're seeing here is the tearing between the even lines and the odd lines, because a single frame on VHS is not actually a single frame. This exists because it was meant to address bandwidth limitations at the time. Instead of sending a single frame 30 times a second, you're sending 60 half frames per second. But notice it's now gone. It's the same file. I didn't shoot it any differently. I didn't modify the file. And I usually don't speak in such definitive terms, but after so much trial and error, there's one correct way to handle this. Anything else is a waste of your time. Capture at 29.97, edit at 59.94 frames per second. You want to capture the exact frame rate, but when you edit or do anything with the video, render a watchable file, do so at double the frame rate. And inside of your timeline, look for something like this, field dominance override, it's called in Final Cut. And because your project frame rate is double the video frame rate, this is going to split even lines onto one frame, odd lines onto the other, transforming it authentically into progressive video, no weird digital gimmicks, and no information lost.
You gonna fly away now? You gonna fly? He's thinking about it. Here he goes. Where is he? I'm not sure. We see him.
And we did this a few times, but this was the final time. This is the moment where we said goodbye to our bird, but I don't like to watch him fly away. I prefer to remember him this way. So, at the risk of being anticlimactic,